Welcome to Overtime on Inferno, your weekly roundup of all the biggest stories in CSGO, quicker than ESL can 180 on no more Brazil spots. You can rate and review us at the end of this episode. It really helps us. I'm Logan. This is Aizyesque. Let's start with not Brazil.
Let's start with not Brazil.
Yeah.
Great start.
Currently anti-Vamos Brazil. We will get to Vamos Brazil though.
We will come to Brazil.
We will come to Brazil. Let's talk about Pro League. Pro League is happening currently right now. Actually, I don't think it is anymore.
I think there's a game on right now.
In about 10 seconds, it probably won't be happening anymore. It looks like Astralis is about to be Complexity. It's 15. Shocked. Okay, to be fair, it's 15-14 Astralis. This could easily go either way. Okay. Let's talk about Group B, which is the group that happened this last week. We said that it was going to be G2 FaZe getting out and then probably Outsiders because of the win against Big. We were 100% correct. Both teams did exactly what we expected them to. But that's not the storyline.
No.
The important storyline we need to talk about is G2, because they look like the best team at this tournament, and it's not particularly close.
I wrote somewhere in an article that HooXi is the perfect player for G2 because he's the only player they've ever had who doesn't have an ego, and his complete lack of ego is what carries the rest of them who clearly have one. So he will happily just go in and die. He has no qualms about that. He will just happily make space for the better players around him. And that's something they've needed for a long time. I'd
be willing to say Jax also didn't have an ego, but
I reckon Jax probably had more of an ego than HooXi does.
I'd say more of. I think HooXi has an incredibly low ego, and that comparatively everyone has a huge ego. Even if you have next to
he reminds me a lot of the old style of Danish in-game leader, somebody like MSL, somebody like Carrigan, where they will jump through a smoke full blind just so a teammate can trade them. By the way, this is definitely recording, right? Because I have no sound waves to say that I'm talking. I might just be completely mute and I wouldn't know.
No, we did this.
Feel like I'm talking, but I'm not.
We did this 2 weeks ago. Remember?
Yeah, it always happens. It's strange.
Yeah. All right, not the point. Very much not the point. God, it looks like Complexity may actually win this round. Woo. Terrifying. So yeah, it's like Group B was not a contest at all.
No, G2 didn't drop a map. They had a couple of comebacks, but they did not drop a map. m0NESY made it look like the Academy League again. He has evolved under HooXi already. There were some stats like his rating's gone up 0.2 since HooXi's taken charge of the team.
Yeah, I think Exotaz came out and was like, "Yeah, we're bring HooXi in. We're gonna unlock m0NESY. Just we've been holding him back or something like that." And that's
Yeah, you can tell.
I believe it.
He's just swashbuckling. He is fighting everything he can, and he's so quick. He's so unbelievably quick.
Okay. Do you have any other big things to talk about Group B? I feel like we covered Group B before it happened because everything happened
about the fact that FaZe have been a little disappointing.
Okay.
I think that's probably worth covering. They're still good. They're still qualified. But, you kind of expect a little bit more. They were the best team in the world 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Are G2 now the best team in the world? I mean, maybe.
In the last 2 days, I'd say that G2 is the best team in the world. But if we're only taking,
I feel that's a sentence you could have said loads of times over the last couple of years.
Yeah, if we're only taking,
G2 are the best team in the world.
I'd even say in the last week, G2 is the best team in the world.
Yeah,
but only that subsect.
Yeah, obviously, there's no issue with FaZe, but it's cause for concern without being hyperbolic.
Yeah, it's one tournament. It's a group stage in one tournament. I mean, they beat the teams they needed to, right?
Group stage in one tournament that they qualified. Their standards are so high that qualifying from a group slightly unconvincingly is is this a cause for concern? That's how high their standards are. But you do have to wonder, what's happening.
All right, let's talk Group C, as in Charlie. This group is the fun group, as I deemed it a couple weeks ago. Whether or not I actually verbally deemed it that, I'm deeming it now.
Whether or not it still is fun as well.
No, I'd say this group is fun. Mouz Sports, ENCE, Australis, Heroic. Complexity is there. Heat is there.
Heroic have not hit the ground running with the Abbey.
No.
That's something we should definitely address. I know some people were higher on the refresh move than others. I know Harry Nero of HOTV fame was like not particularly keen on refresh as a player, but the Yabby move has not, so far at least, been an upgrade. They look a little bit shakier. Their sort of signature aggression has either been figured out or it's just not as tidy right now. I'd have to watch it a bit more to figure that out. But yeah, they look unclean. They look untidy. And they had these jitters on LAN, like in big events, but this is a group stage. Like, this is not a massive crowd. Like, this is... They got dicked by Mouse. Like,
yeah, I want to talk about the flip side of this for a minute, but let's keep on Heroic for a second. Recently, they have not been winning much. The only things they've won is best of ones. They haven't lost a best of three. Won a best of three since Cologne play-ins when they won against Mouz, and that was 4 months ago. Obviously, the player break was in there.
It feels like they haven't won for 4 months.
Oh,
like
wait.
It really feels like they haven't won for 4 months.
That's a lie. HLTV uses European dates. It was 2 months ago. It says 05/07
for 4 months, but they actually haven't won for 2 months.
Yeah, and the thing is like before that point, they were winning things, and that's about the time in which they moved refresh for Yabby. And correlation is not causation. Obviously, saying that they made that move did not cause them to not win a best of three,
but it might have done.
But it might have, and it definitely contributed.
There's definitely something they should look into.
I think something that we said a little while ago when we were talking at the beginning of, I guess this is the first tournament back from player break or whatever the first tournament was, Blast. As we were saying that, Heroic kind of did their roster move before Cologne.
Yes.
And so they were kind of like prepped for coming back into this, where a lot of teams just weren't, and they had these new rosters to deal with. I might want to retract my statement on that a little bit, because it doesn't look like they've got it together, right? The goal of doing the move before Cologne is coming out of the player break, you're more situated than other rosters, and I don't think this looks very situated.
No, they don't look... They don't... There's no instant gel in that team, and I always say, when people say, oh, you need to give the rosters more time, like, all the best rosters of all time clicked immediately.
Yep. I think there's...
most good ones also click immediately. There are very few good teams who took, like, 9 months together to get there. It does exist. I mean, Gambit did it. I'm sure that... I mean, the last Mouse roster that did well at Cologne, that took ages to get to that point. Even then, like...
Yeah, I think that there is a definite set on the like immediate click, but there is we have harped on the keep a roster together because I'm not. I have harped on keep a roster together because they chill overnight. But if there's not immediate success to some degree, there needs to be some sort of light. There needs to be some sort of point that you see, okay, we are here, we can get to here reasonably, we've seen the flashes of it, we just need to make it more consistent. That's the benefit of the like keep a team together, they will improve kind of thing. But if your team is shit and you're at your ceiling already, then it doesn't matter. And I'm not saying Heroic is shit, but like if you're at a point already and you don't have a higher ceiling, you are at your ceiling already, there's no point in keeping it together longer. Maybe we'll just get better. You're at your ceiling.
Which segues perfectly into the team they lost to.
Which does not have a ceiling right now.
It's in exertion, and in his first series, top fragged, 1.25 rating, plus 12 over the series, just completely bodied them. That's what you want from, like, that's what you're looking for immediately. Like, this kid's, like, been fucking chomping at the bit. He's been killing it in Academy League over and over again. He's seen all of his mates get promoted. It's like, just sub me in, coach. I'm ready. Sub him in immediately. Just like dominates a very decent team. Like just shits all over them. Like that's exactly what you want from. It's what we were hoping to see from Exertion because he was so aggressive in the Academy League, and you're like, all right. He's kind of similar to Patsy, where you want him to come in and just feel like he can just fight anyone and win, which is what he did. He just came in, took as many fights as he could, and won most of them. Like that's exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, I love this team now because it's just a bunch of absolute aimers and Dexter.
Yeah, it's just it Dexter
feels
and
like
it's Dexter and his Zuma crew.
It feels like budget phase, and I don't mean that in a bad way at all. It feels like Dexter is the Carrigan, and that everyone else is just like the star player of X a year.
Yeah,
it's just like a real good player. Like you've got Twists and Rops on phase. You got Exertion and Frozen on this team.
And now JDC can actually be a glue player instead of like taking some of the aggressive role, which he was actually pretty good at. But he's less. He doesn't need to be as aggressive now. Like he can actually take more backseat roles. He can do. He can like cover for his teammates instead of like flying in first and making space for them. The roles make sense now. The team makes a lot more sense because they've essentially just ported in the Academy team and added Frozen and Dexter.
Which we've had many things to state about Dexter over the last year in which he's been there, but if you're going to put Dexter in a Carrigan style role and not rely on him to frag and just say you be like the Danish IGLs, you're going to go in, you're gonna die, and that's okay. Make sure to set everyone up in a good place. That's fine. Like no comments. Like obviously that worked. So let's do it.
As long as he actually does set them up properly, which what a lot of people's concern has been. But now he can actually focus on that. He has players who have played together for a long time who know what each other like. Like he doesn't need to tell like JDC and Exertion how to play together because they've already done it.
It's insane to think that this team is like this because if you look on paper, it just looks like they picked up a brand new core to this team.
Yeah. But they
in reality
imported a full core from somewhere else, that being their own Academy team. Like it's not too dissimilar to when G2 signed Nexa and Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you can point out that Hunter is probably better than nearly anyone in the world. He's a phenomenal player. But the point being that they took two pieces together, like the caller and the second caller, the caller and the star. Like you just port them into your team, and you don't have to tell, because then you have somebody who they already know how to play with the IGL, or in this case, they already know how to play with each other, and you can just stick them together on the other side of the map, and then you could just focus on like more macro ideas. Like you don't have to focus on them on like, oh, when this happens, this is the protocol, because they already have these protocols together. They've already played together so many times.
Yeah. Rest of the teams in this group: Ants, Astralis, Complexity, Heat. I don't think we need a deep dive on any of them, especially because the other team that I think deserves a deep dive is Ents, and we haven't seen some Pious play yet. So
or Valde on that team,
or Valde. Yeah, so
that's a fun team on paper. I do wonder, like, so many times you'll see a team replace one star with two. I mean, it's a very common idea in sports. Where like you get a lot of money for one player, so you invest it in the whole team, and so often it doesn't work. Kind of interested to see how they're divulging. How they?
No, I think divesting is right, but
it just didn't sound right. How they're splitting one star into two essentially, and I'm kind of interested to see how it works because I think they should look a little bit different.
Yeah, no, I agree. That roster looks fun to watch. I don't really have like a better statement than that for right now. If we had to do predictions, I think both of us are same on the board here that it should be Mouz at least right now. Mouz and Ents in the top two spots.
It should be Ents top. Like
it should be Ents top.
That is the best team here.
It depends how Mouz looks tomorrow, and I see good vibes, but. Let's see it stick for more than one match.
My concern is how bad are heroic. Like, how much does beating heroic really matter? Like, genuinely, because previously that'd be a massive result. Now it's like heroic don't win much. Like, you should be beating them if you're any good. So.
If you want to watch a match, I will give a match of the week, which will be the Mouz versus Ents matchup on Friday the 16th, at 3:30 East at 3:30 1:30 Eastern. That match will be the
it's about 6:30 CEST, I think.
That match should be the decider for the group. That will decide who gets first place in this group.
I think there's a decent chance Astralis are there as well. Like, I'm not ready to say Mouse are better than Astralis yet.
Astralis are in overtime currently against Complexity.
Yeah, but it's like it's Complexity with an actual AWPer now. It's not like they're not the same team as they were a couple months ago, where Junior was getting 0.7s with the AWP. Hulzerk can play. Like he's not bad.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll give it to you for this moment. But yeah, I think that'll be the best game of the week. In my opinion, that should be the battle for first place. Astralis, if I had to guess, would be third. That said, that would mean Heroic does not make groups. Make playoffs or whatever this is, and this is kind of a scary group. Like it doesn't look like it on paper to a degree, but there's a lot of teams here who are roughly the same kind of.
There's a lot of banana skins. Heat are a very solid team. They don't make many mistakes, and Complexity, as I say, with Hulzerk are a decent team. They do have firepower. Like they do still have Floppy. They do still have Grim. Like these players can carry games if you give them any room. They are not bad individually. Well, whatever you think of them as a team, these players can play. And then like Astralis versus Heroic, that's a spicy game. If that is a third place decider, as you seem to think it'll be, that is a spicy game.
Yeah. We will do our we don't do Group D this week. We do Group D next week. Haha, lol. I can read my own show notes. We are now at the Vamos Brazil time.
Just very quickly, Group D, all of their logos are blue and black.
Yes.
Cool. I like how they color coded that group and none of the others.
It's actually blue across the board other than Furia.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought they were all blue, and then I realized Furia, and I was like, I'll save it by saying they're blue and black. Clearly you can't.
Trade Furia and endpoints, and then we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Rio, the Major, which will be happening in soon.
November, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's the
RMR's at the start of October.
Yeah, end of October, early November. Finals will be like mid-November-ish. So people complained because Rio is not set up to host giant indoor events. So it's set up to host giant football matches. So they only had a 10,000 person stadium and it sold out in like 30 seconds or something like that. So ESL, after about 5, 6, 7 many weeks, they are going to be allowing fans in every single bit of the major. So in the play-ins, in each stage. So in the
I think it's
play-ins, groups, and playoffs.
It's the whole main stage. So I don't think it's play-ins. I think it's just...
No, I believe it is.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just the main stage.
Tickets will go on sale for Challenger and Legend stages as well as the Champion stage.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. I think these names are stupid, but that has nothing to do with it. So yeah, first of all, they're adding like 5,000 seats in the original, like the first 2 stages per day, but there's like a metric shit ton of matches. I believe Gauls is casting them as well, which is super cool. They're adding more tickets for playoffs. Because they've gone away from their like the 2 teams are looking at each other kind of thing. They're doing like a full 360 thing, like it was at Krakow, with the Immortals and Gambit finals, but they're going to be closer to the stage as well. They're not going to use the whole middle arena. They're just going to have kind of a small bubbly kind of thing. And so I guess they'll have standing room. But basically, there's more spots now for people to be.
Yeah. It's an 11-day event, which is insane.
Yeah,
The
it's huge.
logistics to pull this off is going to be ridiculous. Like I have no idea how they're going to pull this off.
Here's my biggest thing with this is I hope this works out. For a couple reasons. One, because I want this to work out. Two, because I think that the fans in Brazil deserve to have this awesome of an event that, regardless of your thoughts on Brazilian fans previously, obviously they are extremely passionate about this game and they deserve to have a really good experience. But third, I want this experience at every major. I want the ability, like, I bought tickets.
Do you want to be in France for 11 days?
No, I don't want to be in France at all. But I bought tickets for League of Legends World Champions, right? Because it's down the block from me in New York, and I can go to group stages. I want to be able to do that for a major. I want to be able to just say, fuck it, I'm going to go to the Challenger stage and watch, like, think about 3 years ago at E-League, if you could go watch Vega Squadron beat NIP in the original, in like the first time that they don't make the major. Like, yeah, I want to go watch that stuff. That's awesome. So I want this to work.
Cry as well in person.
I want to watch this stuff happen. Let people in. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I saw somebody saying something like, "Oh, can you imagine how shit heroic must feel now that there's 11 days in front of a crowd?" So that was quite an amusing comment.
It also means that the teams that almost certainly won't make playoffs but will be there, like 9Z, like
I don't think 9Z are even going to qualify, to be honest, from RMR. That RMR is tough. That is America's RMR is kind of stacked.
I know. MIBR, Imperial, basically your teams that won't normally make playoffs, especially the Brazilian ones that people really, really care about, they'll all be able to see their team in the arena. I think that's all good there.
Yeah.
Okay. Continuing to dump things off my list. Fragadelphia happened this weekend.
Hell yeah. Evil Geniuses won, although in fairness, they had more teams than everyone else, so you'd expect them.
They actually had the second most amount of teams at the event.
Oh, okay. Who had the most?
Davenport University came with 3 teams. So there was a lot of talk about conflict of interest online.
I think we said this last week. It's like, yeah, it is a conflict of interest, but who fucking cares?
Yeah, I've said this publicly about 7 times of who fucking cares. I said it. I was on Dust 2's Double Doors podcast like 2 days ago when we did it live in Philly, and I said the same shit. The answer is who the fuck cares. So, EG won the event. They actually beat out some good teams to do it as well. They beat out. I don't think they beat Apex. The Big Academy team did.
Beat Apex,
Big Academy did, but the Party Astronauts team had to beat Team 1 to get there, which was Team 1 was a complicated matter at this event. They showed up late to their playoff match. Yeah, they showed up like a half hour late, and then the match was delayed an hour. It was an odd time to be there. But they did put up a really, really good match against Big Academy. Like they won 2-1, and Big Academy is absolutely no slouch.
Really good.
Like Big Academy,
it's kind of depressing if you're an NA fan to see Big Academy just shit stomp everyone on the way there. But they did also beat Apex, so you're kind of like, okay, they're not bad.
Yeah, no, there's 2 bits to this, which is one is like, holy shit, Big Academy beat everyone in NA. How bad is NA? But on the other hand, it's like, holy shit, Big Academy is just really good.
Yeah,
like
and
there's
then
2
PA
bits
did beat them, so like,
and like it. In our head, let's think about it this way. I wouldn't say that any of these teams, other than perhaps Party Astronauts, is a tier 1 North American team.
Yeah.
All of these are tier 2 North American teams that we know because they have a ton of either former tier 1 players or big names and that kind of stuff. There was no tier 1 EU team. So Big Academy going up against EG Party Astronauts, that's like academy to academy, even though Party Astronauts is not academy.
Party Astronauts is the EG Academy team.
Yeah.
So if their academy team is better than Big's academy team, that just means EG are better than Big.
Yeah. But that's kind of like my thought process through this event is not like, oh shit, the Big Academy team came and beat everyone. Yeah. No shit. Like, they're a good tier 2 team.
Yeah.
But like, where was the NA tier 1 teams here? There was no Liquid, there was no Complexity, there was no EG main squad. Those are the American tier 1 teams. Like, so who cares? Cool event. I
It's
have yet to
probably a good job Complexity and EG Main Squad weren't there, because if they'd have lost a big academy in America, there would have been uproar.
I'm sorry.
Liquid would have banged them out, but I'm not convinced the other two would have.
Two very important things I want to touch on from this event. Davenport University, my favorite collegiate team and only collegiate team that we talk about, got 9th to 12th, and that doesn't sound that impressive, but they were about like one round from making playoffs. They almost kicked Apex out of playoffs. No, Carpe Diem out of playoffs. It was really, really, really close. Their last match against it went to 3 maps. It went to, I believe, multiple overtimes in the 3rd map. It didn't, but it was just really close. Either way, basically banger game. Great to be there to watch it. We have an interview with Kojomo somewhere. I have to get it off an SD card. Kojomo. He is their op player with some cool stuff on Collegiate Counter-Strike that will either go in here today or up on YouTube and linked at another point or something. So be on the lookout from that. That is all I have to say about Frag. Good event. Very enjoyable first LAN for me to go to, which is insane that this was my first LAN.
I went to Insomnia a couple of weeks ago. So
all right, I've got two more quick bits here. Harry.
I was going to bring this up.
Of HLTV, formerly of Read TLDR.
But he's still here sometimes.
Kind of, sort of, sometimes formerly of Read TLDR. He wrote in a piece for HLTV, which was, we paired current and former Academy players with their top-tier doppelgangers, which I thought was a banger piece. Apparently you did too, and it confirmed some things that we knew. And it taught us some things. So
I love it because it's very similar to work I've seen done in football, which I always found very interesting.
I feel like that's 90% of what Harry writes. It's just like, hey, I saw this cool thing in football. Let me make it for Counter-Strike.
Me and him have very, very similar outlooks on both things. So it makes sense. Like the first time I spoke to you about it, I realized that, we had very similar outlooks on the use of statistics in football and Go Counter-Strike, and it's really cool. Like the radar, as soon as I saw the radars, I was like, I know where this comes from. Like the sort of style radars. But my primary takeaway from that was, how on earth did anyone think Monacy wasn't going to be good enough for Tier 1? Did you see his Academy League radar? How anyone could look at that and go, yeah, but he's never played Tier. It doesn't matter, mate. Like you could put any other Tier 1 AWPer who isn't Simple or ZywOo in the Academy League, and they would not do that. Yep, I promise you they wouldn't do that. Like, there is only 2 other players in the world who would have been that good at that level, and he was that good at 16.
Yeah. I do have to say, love Harry. Very much love how they put Monacy with the Navi logo, and more importantly, the Navi jersey there instead of his current jersey.
It was when he was on Navi Junior.
Yeah, but they're talking about with Carry On, they use him in his Aurora jersey.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, but I still think it's funny.
My favorite thing about Chiron is the first time I saw him play. So he was like randomly put into the Spirit lineup like a week before an event. It was the final DreamHack Open. DreamHack Open. He played a couple of games for Spirit, and I pointed out on broadcast, I was on Facts for that he doesn't throw flashes. Like he just straight up doesn't throw flashes. It was something like he was flashing an enemy. Oh no, he was throwing a flash once every 10 rounds and flashing an enemy once every 20. The next lowest in the event was like 1 in 3. He just straight up just did not use utility because, well, A, he probably just never had to. B, he was an entry fragger, and C, he was filling in, so it was like you just play your own game, concentrate on your crosshair type thing. And in that article, he points out that, oh yeah, he's just like Patsy, he's utility shy. I was like, he's probably got a little bit better, but he still doesn't like throwing utility. Like He is an aimer. He has no interest in doing anything except fighting.
Yeah. I There were a lot of good points in this piece. I would highly recommend reading it. The biggest takeaway that I wanted to is that every somewhat aggressive rifler is automatically a liege.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
Exertion, 87.4%. Carrion, 68.2%. Fessor, 79%.
Fessor's cracked as well. He was on the team with MSL, and I liked him then. I was like, this guy is like, he's going somewhere. Yeah, he was on South. I was like, this kid's got something.
They really did predict how that team was going to go.
Yeah, it was a pretty fitting name. He should have gone with my suggestion. He asked for suggestions in his Discord when he was coming up with the team. He was like, "Oh, what shall I call it?" And obviously, South won. My suggestion was DreamHack Stockholm Syndrome.
That's a banger,
which I think is fucking great. And he was like, he laughed and was like, "Nah, I can't use that." Oh, come on, bro. DreamHack Stockholm Syndrome. That was the one.
On Kier also was 78%. Basically, if you're a somewhat aggressive rifler, a liege you should be looking at videos for. Which I thought was super interesting because no other player, including Oppers, right, related to that many people, because people were relating to Simple, people were relating to Zywoo,
that's always a good sign, isn't it? It's like, yeah, you're just like Simple, but a bit worse. I'll take that. Take that all day.
My point is if you are this archetype, there is one person.
Oh, yeah,
everyone else had like a little bit differences. One more bit for today. I don't know if you saw it, but I did, which was Liquid's content piece about Nitro.
I saw it existed. I didn't watch it.
So they did a really cool thing, which was a really, really long... it wasn't really long. It was like 15 minutes, which I guess in TikTok time is like 7 years. They did did a long form piece about Nitro and why he came back to Counter-Strike, and basically the history of Nitro, like a Score Esports video, but just
the rise, fall, and rise again of Nitro.
It was just way better and involved Nitro. His wife was in the video. Anders was there. They talked with his teammates on 100 Thieves Valorant, including Ethan and Asuna. And they went through this whole thing of like, not just like, oh, he used to be an entry fragger and then he was in IGL. It was what happened in his head to move from this entry fragger to IGL and what he was thinking when he became pro and dropped out of college. And really, really good piece of content. I want more of it. Not specifically Nitro related, obviously, because I've now seen the Nitro one. But I want other teams to start putting out content like this.
I know it shouldn't surprise me, but whenever I find out a pro Counter-Strike player is married, it does surprise me. It's just really hard to just imagine that happening. I don't know why.
He's a kid.
Yeah, I know. It's just really weird to me. I can't really explain it. There's a couple of things I think we can definitely mention. Blast confirmed the major in Paris. Everyone kind of knew it anyway, but worth confirming. Still no word on whether or not the commentary in the building is going to be in French.
According to French law, it has to be, but like also Emmanuel Macron went on.
I think the French law suggests at least some of the broadcast has to be, so it can just, like, people are suggesting it might be like a stage host is French, but the casting will be in English. I don't know. They might just get scrawny in to do a bit of both.
I do know that Emmanuel Macron went out and said had a 4-minute long Twitter video or something like that talking about this, which you don't see a politician in any other country do.
Except which is kind of cool. Kosovo.
Yes.
The Bad News Eagles one.
Yes, but he didn't make a 4-minute video about hosting the major in Kosovo.
No, but he flew out to see them when they qualified, which is cool.
That's true. But I couldn't understand any of the videos, so I have no clue what the context is.
So I learned French for, I think, 8 years, and I've forgotten all of it. I learned German for like 5. No,
by the way,
yes.
By the way, 6. We are, I believe, officially in triple overtime in the Astralis Complexity game.
You said at the start of this, that game will be finished soon. We're almost we're almost at the end, and it hasn't ended. We can bring up endpoint of bench crucial.
Yes, which is actually super big. He was there for like 2.5 years.
Yeah, he's been there for a while. They're trialing MHL at the moment. Apparently, they're going to trial a lot of AWPers. MHL is really good. They could just sign him.
former Mouz Academy
and former
team.
AGO as well. And also,
no
if you're a fan of old players, there's the Kingwin Legends tournament going on at the moment, which has some crazy teams. They're all they're called like Team Neo, Michael Edward.
The
like
Kenny S team.
Kenny S team. Look, it's got 4 authors on it. It's not going to be good. Smooyar's on it, but Pasha Biceps has 4 of the Golden 5. That's not true. 3 of the Golden 5.
Who's on his team?
They're not even the Golden 5. Somebody's going to get angry at me if you call them the Golden 5. But it's Pasha, Snacks, Bialy with Mihu and Zhane coming in. Neo is on a team with Forrest, Freiberg, Olofmeister, and Guardian, which...
That's a banger team.
Can you imagine that team 8 years ago, or 6 years ago? That'd be an amazing team. Mike Halali with Devil Walk, Mouse, Rallen, and Milky. I'm going to pronounce it. Don't know if that's correct. Edward has a full Ukrainian team with Waro 2K, Bondik, DemQQ, and Jakey. Heaton, Dennis, Palm 1, Groose, and I don't know who the 5th is. It's not currently named. Kenny S. Smooyar, NATO Suffix, Smiths, and Ninnis.
I love how Kenny went. You know what I like? The op. Can we just have more?
It really says a lot about the way Kenny thinks about the game. It's like, well, AWPers are the best players. We'll just have as many AWPers as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I have no way to fault him. No one has tried having a 4-up team before. So
there's a great story about the Cardiff City chairman. Is a guy called Vincent Tan, very eccentric fellow. And he took over this team. They're called the Bluebirds. They famously play in blue. He tried to get their kit changed to red because it's a lucky color. And then halfway through the season, they weren't doing very well, and he was really angry, and he was asking people why is this guy not scoring goals? Well, he's the goalkeeper. Well, we need to get a different one. He's not scoring, but he's playing goal. Why is this guy not scoring? Well, he's a right back. Well, yeah, but he's not scoring any goals. We should get rid of him. That's kind of how Kenny S thinks about the game. He's well, he's not getting any AWP kills. We've got to get an AWPer in. We need another AWP. How are you going to hold this angle without an AWP? He's not getting any kills.
Genius. Yeah. I don't have anything more. I think
that's everything I came with.
I think that's our news. I'm doing very quick. ESL canceled. Not that. I mean, sure, but ESL canceled IEM China, which is supposed to happen because more COVID reasons.
Yeah. So if Perfect World are getting the major, and this is getting cancelled because of COVID, I mean, I guess it's in a year's time. It's a while.
Yeah, it's a while.
It'll probably be better by then.
But
I remember saying that in 2020.
Yeah, it was supposed to happen. It's no longer happening. They're moving it somewhere.
I hope Perfect World put the major in Japan. Can you imagine? That'd be fucking cool.
Yo, we're going. We're going.
Yeah, if it's in Japan, I'm actually gonna go. I've always wanted to go to Japan.
Same, and that's just a really good reason to.
Yeah,
fuck it, why not? All right, that's gonna do it for us this week. Make sure to tune in next week. We talk about ESL Group C recap, Group D predictions. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at RetailDR, at Logan Ramhap, and it's not at Logan, at Mechatronic, and at Aizyesque.
Yeah.
I'm tripping myself up. That's it. See you next week.
Wonderful.